Nearly 100 years ago, a company began in Racine, Wisconsin, USA, with this simple idea. If you make a superior product and properly tell others about it, people will insist on buying it. That idea, coupled with the philosophy that the fundamental vitality and strength of a company lies in its people, is what Johnson Wax is all about. Since its founding in this building in 1886, Johnson Wax history has been marked by enterprise, growth, and quality. Today, Johnson Wax is a worldwide family of some 13,000 employees in more than 40 countries who are carrying on a long tradition of excellence. At Johnson Wax, there is a genuine concern for the quality of every product and the welfare of every employee. This attitude is the fruit of almost a century of one family's leadership, 4 generations of Johnson family leadership, which has always been guided by deeply ingrained ideals and sound business principles. Johnson Wax started as many companies start, with one man and one idea. In 1882, Samuel C. Johnson, then 49, arrived in Racine, Wisconsin to accept a sales position with the Racine Hardware Manufacturing Company. He began his career in Racine by selling parquet flooring. This type of flooring, consisting of small blocks of wood laid in geometric patterns, was a fashionable element in the then popular Victorian homes. 4 years later, in 1886, when Sam Johnson saw his opportunity, he purchased that floor business. With only a modest-sized workforce and a great deal of faith in his selling ability and business know-how, he founded the S.C. Johnson Company. 5 days a week, he sold his parquet flooring to contractors of fine homes, churches, and public buildings. On Saturdays, he filled the orders and carried out his management responsibilities. As parquet sales increased, more and more customers became concerned about how to maintain their new wood floors. Aware that parquet floors had originated in Europe, Sam Johnson discovered that wax had preserved and protected these floors for centuries. Sensing the opportunity to provide additional service to his customers and to diversify his business, Mr. Johnson experimented and launched Johnson's Prepared Paste Wax. This perhaps represents the most critical decision in the history of our company, the decision to move into a new and different product field. This first product diversification introduced a spirit of adventure and risk-taking that continues to distinguish our company today. As the 19th century ended, Sam Johnson's gamble with paste wax paid off. Elaborate Victorian decor was going out of style, and with it, parquet flooring. The company's income from paste wax and other Johnson products, including varnishes, paints, and wood dyes, actually exceeded that of parquet flooring, and Johnson Wax was on its way to becoming a household word in America. In 1888, Sam's son Herbert Fisk joined the company. A more ideal combination of business talents than those of this father and son team could hardly be imagined. S.C. Johnson was conservative in his approach to business, a master of detail, insisting that whatever he produced be made of the finest quality materials. Herbert Fisk Johnson was in accord with his father on the high standard of quality, but he also was very imaginative, expansive, and above all, sales-minded. As H.F. Johnson began selling the family's products, he saw the need to advertise directly to the public. Whenever there was money left over after paying expenses, he would go to the Racine Daily Journal and buy as big an ad as the money would allow. Soon, Johnson ads started to appear throughout the country in newspapers and magazines. H.F., like his father, recognized the need to diversify with new, high-quality products. He believed that a superior product advertised well would succeed in the marketplace. This ideal of combining superior products with strong advertising continues today as a Johnson trademark and as part of our Product Plus philosophy. This philosophy specifically demands that we at Johnson Wax develop products and services which are demonstrably superior to competitive products, and that this superiority be apparent to the consumer. As a new century opened, a true partnership of father and son was formed. In 1906, the business was renamed S.C. Johnson and Son. Under H.F. Johnson's guidance, the company expanded worldwide, establishing subsidiaries in England, Canada, and Australia. Our first overseas venture, a subsidiary in England in 1914, was launched in the country where the use of wax for wood care originated. In typical fashion, H.F. Johnson decided to improve on what was there and package it for mass markets. Unfortunately, the first shipment of goods became a victim of World War I. The ship was torpedoed and sunk. But this did not alter the spirit of adventure that had fired our imagination. A few years later, in 1917, a subsidiary was opened in Australia and in Canada in 1920. This proved to be the foundation for continued international growth. And today, sales from our international companies exceed those in the United States. H.F. Johnson's advertising and product insight was matched only by his innovations in employee working conditions and benefits. As an experiment in 1917, H.F. Johnson shortened the length of the workday from 10 hours to 9. Surprisingly, the result was an increase in productivity. The experiment was so successful that later that same year, the 9-hour workday was further reduced to an 8-hour day with the same pay. With his business growing, H.F. Johnson decided to share the company's prosperity with those who helped make it a success. Shortly before Christmas, with the full approval of his father, H.F. Johnson inaugurated another innovation, profit sharing. Today, many Johnson Wax subsidiary companies have been able to adopt this idea of sharing success with employees. Johnson's leadership in improving employee benefits and security was further expanded when we became one of the first companies in the United States to provide group life insurance, paid vacations and holidays, hospitalization and medical insurance, and pension plans. This concern for employees was also realized in the formation of the Johnson Mutual Benefit Association in 1922. JMBA is an organization operated for members by members and has been an innovator in benefit and recreation programming for Johnson employees and their families. Today, there are similar employee associations in more than 20 other Johnson companies around the world. As the company expanded in the early 1920s, the third generation of the family, H.F. Johnson Jr., entered the business. Sharing his father's and grandfather's drive for research and product quality, he went to work in the company's crude laboratories. Up to this time, the labs were used primarily for testing the quality of raw materials and finished goods. H.F. Johnson Jr. realized the company needed a strong research and development department to improve existing products and develop new ones. Through his refinements, one of our most successful products emerged in 1932, Glow Coat, a self-polishing floor wax. Though it was a superior and innovative product, Glow Coat's success was not assured. Times were uncertain. Other businesses had failed. America was in the grip of the Great Depression. But Mr. Johnson had confidence in Glow Coat and designed a bold marketing plan. 500,000 pints of Glow Coat were shipped to 90,000 dealers throughout the United States without orders. The shipment of product was accompanied by a letter from H.F. Johnson Jr. instructing the dealers to return the product at our expense if they decided not to keep and sell the new Glow Coat. 94% of the dealers did keep and sell the product, and Glow Coat became the leading brand in its category. Glow Coat's success cemented our company's commitment to R&D, a commitment that continues today through a sharing of knowledge and technological expertise among all our worldwide companies. Even with the success of Glow Coat, recovery from the Great Depression was slow. But H.F. Johnson Jr. remained an optimist, always planning and acting on future needs of the company. One of those plans was the supplying of raw materials for our wax products. In his research for the supreme raw materials, he led a 22,000-mile aerial expedition to South America in 1936. Here in the jungles of Brazil, he brought a group of Johnson researchers to study the carnauba palm, a source of high-quality wax. As a direct result of that expedition, our company purchased a small acreage for an experimental plantation in the heart of the Carnauba country. In 1937, Johnson established a subsidiary company in Fortaleza, Brazil, as a center of research and processing of the Carnauba palm. This continued until 1970, when we completed our work and turned the plantation over to a Brazilian university for continued research. Raw materials were only one of the company needs that required a daring decision. H.F. Johnson Jr. knew that as his business grew, a new office building would be needed. Our worldwide administration building at that time was this standard office building. A local architect had been retained to design a new building, but Mr. Johnson felt the design lacked the unique spirit of his company. It was then that he was introduced to the renowned architect Frank Lloyd Wright. In 1937, he commissioned Wright to design and supervise the construction of the new administration building and subsequently the research tower. In doing so, Mr. Johnson set an international precedent. Our corporate headquarters have been described as the greatest innovation in business housing since the skyscraper. Some 40 years later, these buildings are still considered to be modern, functional classics of architecture. This same commitment to excellence in architecture can be seen wherever Johnson Wax companies are located around the world. There's Europlant in the Netherlands, our company in Japan, in Italy, in France, in Canada. This is a tradition that remains very much with us today, as exemplified by our International Conference Center in Racine, the Council House. We had only just settled in our new corporate headquarters in 1939 when changing world conditions demanded that we venture into new product areas. World War II began, and the war effort created special challenges for R&D. Early in the war, the United States government eagerly sought ways to combat insects that were spreading disease among the fighting troops. Its research led to the invention of the portable aerosol dispenser for insecticides. This discovery led us to further diversification in the 1950s, when the fourth generation of Johnson management, Samuel C. Johnson, joined the company. When Sam Johnson joined the Johnson Wax Company in 1954, he headed the new products department. One of his first projects was the development of an insecticide product. In 1956, Johnson Wax introduced Raid House and Garden, the first push-button insect killer that could be used against household flying insects and outdoor plant pests. For 25 years, aerosols grew in popularity, becoming a symbol to the consumer age of convenience brought about through modern technology. But by the early 70s, a great deal of confusion and anxiety developed regarding aerosols and their safety in dispensing products. The problem centered on the release of a certain propellant gas, a fluorocarbon, that was thought to damage the ozone layer around the Earth. Sam Johnson made a decision in 1975 that jolted the U.S. aerosol industry. He announced that the company was removing all fluorocarbon propellants from our U.S. aerosol products and would reformulate our product ingredients worldwide to achieve the same goal. Our U.S. packages carried special information on the label indicating that they contained no fluorocarbons and could be used with confidence. The decision on fluorocarbons did not make us popular within the industry, but we believe aerosols belong in the marketplace, and we continue to feel that it was right and necessary in light of our commitment to the environment and to the aerosol as a good and useful product. Our successful introduction in 1956 of Raid insecticide marked the company's departure from the tradition that new products had to contain wax. This change led to significant new product diversification, both in the United States and throughout our international subsidiaries. At the same time that we were developing new consumer products, we also were giving attention to part of our business that can be traced to our beginnings when we sold paints and varnishes in bulk containers to contractors and other businesses. In 1958, we named this operation Service Products. Then, in 1979, this area of our business was restructured and renamed Worldwide Innochem Operations. This name is derived from the organization's mission, which is innovative chemicals for professional use. Worldwide Innochem Operations develops and markets innovative products to meet the professional needs of business, industry, and institutions around the world. Innochem's product groups include items in such categories as floor and furniture care, cleaning and disinfecting, pesticides and vehicle cleaners, as well as metalworking, special coatings, and polymers. Innochem is a logical business for us to be in, since our lines of commercial and specialty chemical products are, in effect, extensions of our consumer products business. There is a synergy, a sharing of basic technology between our Innochem and our consumer product operations. Frequently, one can be the source of new product ideas for the other. In diversifying our product line, the company has not been reluctant to venture outside traditional consumer product areas. One of the challenging new fields which the company decided to enter in the late 1960s was the leisure time market. We believe that the recreation market and some high-quality smaller companies available in that market can be a good diversification area for us, and also can be an area for management development and future profits. Each company we acquired as part of our Johnson Wax Associates subsidiary had in its own right a quality image and some unique products within that image. Our challenge has been to maintain the rate of growth and the spirit of entrepreneurship which made the company attractive enough for us to acquire in the first place. The history of Johnson Wax has been built upon dramatic and bold decisions, and the men who have guided the company for almost a century have retained a vision for the quality of life that extends far beyond the day-to-day business operation. Then, as now, our company believes that every community should become a better place because Johnson Wax people are there, and that there can be a healthy environment inside the company only when there is a healthy environment outside the company. Johnson people throughout the world are active in civic affairs, and the company is an active corporate citizen in every community in which we are located. That is why the Johnson family in 1958 established and endowed the Johnson Foundation, an organization devoted to furthering human understanding. And a year later, in 1959, Johnson Wax established the Johnson's Wax Fund as its philanthropic arm. This fund makes grants to health, welfare, and cultural programs, youth activities, environmental causes, civic affairs, and to schools and colleges. It also provides educational fellowships and scholarships. And wherever possible, this kind of philanthropy is practiced by each of our worldwide companies. These are very impressive programs for any company, but our commitment to improve the quality of life has gone much further. In 1964, at the New York World's Fair, Johnson Wax sponsored the Golden Rondell Theater and To Be Alive, a film that celebrates the joy of living. More than 5 million people at the fair saw To Be Alive, which later won an Academy Award. To Be Alive went on to be shown throughout Europe and South America, and at the United Nations Pavilion at Montreal's Expo in 1967. That same year, a redesigned Golden Rondell Theater opened at our corporate headquarters in Racine as our visitors center and as a permanent home for To Be Alive. Our newest film, Living Planet, celebrates the wonders of the planet Earth. This film creates, we believe, an increasing awareness among all segments of our society of the need to preserve and protect our fragile planet. All of these programs make a dramatic statement about Johnson Wax and demonstrate that our heritage of excellence goes far beyond the borders of our business world, enriching the lives of the people around us. That is one of the major principles of This We Believe, which is our formal statement of the business practices which have guided our company virtually since our founding in 1886. Johnson Wax. As a company, we have always believed that our fundamental vitality and strength lies in our people. Our history is essentially a history of people, men and women working together. trying to make the world a better place for themselves and for other people. In a profit-sharing speech delivered to employees on Christmas in 1927, the senior H.F. Johnson made a statement that sums it all up. He said, "The goodwill of the people is the only enduring thing in any business. It is the sole substance. The rest is shadow." That was true in 1927. It remains true today.